Hey Geminis, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be taking a look at your second half of the general reading here. So, your meditation, it's really something else. I saw like a race car on a racetrack, and then I saw it was like the camera like kind of panned up, and I saw that it was actually not an actual race car, but a Hot Wheels car. I don't know if y'all had Hot Wheels as kids, but it was like this like play race car, and I saw this kid kind of playing with it and going vroom vroom, and then I saw it kind of being chucked up into the sky. And this like flying Hot Wheels race car moved so far up that it was in outer space, and I saw it transform into this really impressive space. And then I saw the words presence of mind plus purposeful action equals transcendence. Presence of mind plus purposeful action equals transcendence. Outer space style. So I'm intrigued for sure. Let's go ahead and see what your cards say. Hey Gemini, let's go ahead and see what your animal energy is for the second half of April. What is going on? Second half of April. Oh yes, please. So good. Okay, I'm so here for this. So we have the owl here. You know, it's very auspicious when you get a animal that's of your like element. So air animal for air sign. Always, always, always a good sign. You know, owl energy, this is making a lot of sense. You see that kind of like outer space behind the owl. I'm so here for this already. So owl medicine is very much about seeing ourselves and others clearly, right? Ted Andrews, in his book Animal Speak, says of the owl that the sun lives through the owl at night. So it's really about clear seeing. It's about intuition. It's about, you know, having access to all of the information and insight, both about yourself and others and your situation, so that you have the most optionality at your disposal, because information is power. Knowledge is power. Right. And that I guess that would be the tagline of the owl, really, is that knowledge is power. So the fact that this is coming up for you, you know, in conjunction with your opening meditation, which was about, you know, presence of mind and purposeful action equaling transcendence, that's really something else. Also, owl, you know, equates to kind of like a hybrid energy. It's kind of cups energy and the tarot, which really speaks of that, you know, emotional fulfillment and happiness that comes with clarity. You know, also kind of reminds me a bit of the high priestess as well, the owl does, because we're talking about, you know, wisdom and perception and of course intuition. So this is beautiful to come up for you guys. I'm absolutely here for it. So let's go ahead and get to the cards and see what's going on for Gemini. Second half of April. What's going on? Oh, oh my God, this is going to be good. Okay, so we have Matt here. So this is actually the Justice key, because in this deck, number 8 is reversed with 11. Some of the decks are like that. So this is Justice, Matt, the Egyptian god of equality and fairness and balancer of the scales. You know what's really interesting here? Well, first of all, traditionally speaking, justice is about everything being fair and equal and balanced and from an objective or impartial point of view, right? So it's a bit like taking the emotionality out of it and I'm making an objective and fair decision, right? So this also speaks of legal matters, legal disputes, legal cases, all of that good stuff, really working out in your favor, but really in everyone's favor. And I'm hearing a specific saying that comes to mind, that a good compromise is where neither side feels like they've won. I'm really hearing that. A good compromise is where neither side feels like they've won. Something in that for you, Gemini, which is also really interesting too, because you guys, as, you know, Gemini, as the twins, you're able to see both sides of something equally as well, even sometimes to the point of analysis paralysis. But I'm feeling like there's a sort of greater perspective that's being gifted to you in the second half of this month. It feels like it's going to even move beyond this month as well, but it feels really good. I'm actually getting to take this a bit literally, and I'm seeing sort of a nod towards Libra season, which is December 22nd through October 22nd. There's something about that time frame that's coming up for you, significant in some way. I'm also hearing that it could have been either this last Libra season. Something started then, or something that was began during that time, or an issue from that time. And it's also linking it to the next one that's to come in terms of like a full cycle. Okay. Something that takes a year. Something about that. All right. Ooh, Dreamer of Swords. Okay. Very good. So, Dreamer of Swords, this is Page of Swords. This is about, this is really interesting. This is about information, insights, knowledge, but this is also about communication. This can be, someone reaching out with the written word. This can be an offer, a contract, signing something, making a deal, I just heard, because we're also talking about legal stuff. We're talking about Matt. We're talking about equality, fairness, balance. This could be an offer of something. I'm seeing a contract being slid across a desk. An offer to sign you up for something, to sell something, to settle a dispute. But this can also be with the Page of Swords, insights that you have within for yourself. Now, again, back to this owl energy. Now, these insights that you have within for yourself as they relate to owl energy are usually around something that involves like seeing something beneath the surface, or that maybe is not, readily apparent, that really gives you sort of a leg up in a situation. This could be seeing something about yourself that you're like, oh, right. Understanding a part of your psyche in a newfound way, which can be very powerful and sort of propels you to a place where you have more of a profound autonomy, right? But also it's allowing you to come from a place of optionality in terms of responding as opposed to reacting. When you understand your psyche really well, you have more choice, right? Interesting. But it is information, but it's feeling very, the key word here I feel like is like knowledge, but also knowledge is power. There's something about that knowledge is power. Woo! All right, Gemini, let's go. Can I just say this feels quite energized, this reading? Ooh, yes. So we have the Six of Pentacles here. So Six of Pentacles is very much about reciprocity, but this is about give and take. It is the Pentacles, so this relates to matters of the home, physical health, and your finances. But Six of Pentacles in this particular context, I always think about how she looks like, she could use a bit, she looks a bit, no judgment, but she looks a bit malnourished and looking like she could give to herself a little bit better, right? So I do feel like there's an aspect of self-care whenever this comes up in this context. And the fact that she has a frog and a cat, like two symbols of like magic and intuition, like sitting on her lap, like the owl, I feel like could be perched right here. And that would be like a complete picture of this right here. But I feel like I feel like there's something, if anything is lacking in your situation that could help and empower you, it is your intuition and accessing that more fully. I feel like you have an untapped well of intuitive knowledge and power that's available to you if only you would access it more fully. Whatever you're doing, amplify it. If you're not doing much, do more. Because it feels like you're missing, it's like all of this gold. It's kind of the equivalent of, I'm seeing the wizard behind the curtain in Wizard of Oz, and how the wizard was able to see what everyone else was doing at any given point. He had a system of spies and, all this stuff, that birds and all this stuff. But I feel like that's what you're disposal, this kind of wealth of information. You're being able to see what other people's motives are. You're being able to see 3 chess moves ahead about what someone else is going to offer you. You're going to know through accessing your intuition things that are going to happen before they do. And so you have time to prepare and plan. But the way in is through your intuition. Okay? Cool. All right. Justice. What's going on? Right. So, to clarify justice or Matt, we have the Four of Swords. So traditionally speaking, the Four of Swords is about completely powering down, right? Like literally sleeping on a moon there. Powering all the way down in order to rest, recharge, and recuperate. Now, what's fascinating about this is that we're sleeping over a bed of unicorns, which is about judgment magic, right? Which is about, look back with pleasure, being able to review the past in order to benefit and learn from it so that you don't have to repeat it in the future, right? Now, the fact that this is coming up with justice and we're talking about, contracts or legal matters or everything being fair and balanced, and then we have the Four of Swords here, which is that judgment and that powering down and recharging, all underneath the starry sky, star being the symbol of intuition and Aquarian energy. There's something here about things working out in your favor, but it doesn't necessarily come from you charging ahead to make it happen. Because we're looking at the dream time, we're looking at the owl energy and your intuition, right? And then we have someone sleeping here. Sleeping, we have a direct line to our subconscious and thus our intuition, right? Because our intuition resides within that realm. There's something about allowing yourself to not just I think resting is always good, but I think about, can you rest productively? It's really, can I rest productively? But yeah, I mean that. Can you give yourself the gift of, recharging and refueling yourself, but doing so in a productive way? Can you, when you go to sleep at night, set the intention to, gain clarity around questions that you have around whatever is going on for you? Can you do so in a way where you're able to wake up more fully empowered, invigorated, and informed? That saying of I'm going to go sleep on it. And then oftentimes you sleep on it, you wake up and you know what to do. That's what I'm getting here with justice. Going to sleep, not really quite knowing the answer, and then waking up knowing what to do. The key to this is setting an intention to do it. And I could sit here and recommend a bunch of different herbs to use, crystals to put around your pillow, the dream. I could sit here and rattle off, 101, witchy wonder things to do, okay? Because that's a judge. But really just keeping it more practical, okay? All you really have to do is set the intention. All you have to do. Allow yourself, your mind, to kind of hone in on a single fine point before you go to sleep. Harness all of that mental energy that you guys have a surplus of and say, okay, the question that I have is, for example, when is the best time to do this? And then release it and go to sleep and wake up and see what's there. Now, this may take a time or two to try, right? But I'm telling you, if you can harness the power of your dreams in this way and even access your intuition, through this door, this could open up a wealth of opportunity for you that it could be incredibly liberating, okay? It's be your own intuitive through your dream time. Dreamer of Swords, speaking of dreaming. Page of Swords. Oh, God. Sometimes it's just so on the nose that you're really? Look at this. Ace of Swords. Do you see the sword with the question marks? Are you kidding? So Ace of Swords for the Page of Swords. We already talked about the Page of Swords being information, knowledge, offers, communication, right? Contracts, all that. Then we have Ace of Swords, which is big realization, a big clarity, having the answers. And we're talking about going to sleep and then waking up with the answers. It's literally so on the nose. Now, also, look at this stage manager's back here at the curtain going, hey, it's over here. It's, your cue. It's your cue. It's time to go on stage. And then this guy over here with the sword is going wait, what? What's going on? What is it? When's the cue? And it's he just paid attention, he would know that the way is over there. And I feel this is a way of saying the universe, your guides, your ancestors, the higher aspects of yourself are alerting you as to the way forward. They're literally giving you the manual. The question is, where is your point of focus? Are you available to receive the information and the directives? How available are you? Are you paying attention? Because I'm seeing this image of signs and synchronicities. They're all literally battery ramming at your door, but you're looking elsewhere. Wait, what did we say? Presence of mind plus purposeful action equals transcendence. That's what this is. Interesting. Clarifier for the Sagittarius. Good Lord. Okay. So we have the Fool here. It did come up in the reverse. Let's talk about this. So the Fool, to clarify the Six of Pentacles. So the Fool is about fresh, brand new starts, new beginnings, really jumping full in, taking that leap of faith and trusting that it's all going to work out. This is giving me never-ending story vibes. with this animal here. I don't know if that resonates. But it came up in the reverse, and to clarify the Six of Pentacles. So remember how we talked about this is an untapped well of your intuition and you accessing it? I feel like there's an aspect of you stalemating until you fully access this, at least at this point in the story. I feel like the key to transcending your current position and where you currently are is accessing that intuition more fully, and also I'm hearing self-care, self-nurturing. Okay, let's talk about this. So what if the universe, whatever it is, your guides, ancestors, universe, are not going to give you what you actually desire until you prove and demonstrate through action that you are able to balance what you already have going on? What if it's like, no, like this person has a full plate of food that is, rotting, and they're asking for more? No, we're going to wait until they empty that plate, figure their way through it. We're trying to help them. And then only when that plate has some more room on it are we going to give them something new to contend with. Otherwise, this new stuff really can't come in. Does that make sense? And it's like we're starving, we're whittling ourselves away, right? When it's really like, hello. Tend to yourself, self-care, self-nurture, be open, presence of mind plus purposeful action equals transcendence. That is the mantra that came for you in your meditation. I'm here to write that down and put it on the refrigerator if you must. But that is the T and the key. That is what it is. It's really something else, Gemini. Let's go ahead and get an oracle. I've been doing these divine feather messenger oracles this round, and I'm really loving them because they feel like they're really apt for spring. So we got the owl here. Let's get some feather wisdom. End it on a nice light note. Oh God, I love it so much. White swan, couldn't be better. By the way, swan is associated with star energy, Aquarius energy, which came up, right? Okay, white swan. The power of divine grace is within you. Now, what's really amazing about this is that on the surface, the swan looks calm and composed, but underneath the water, those feet are going. And I'm hearing that there's a special message in this in terms of keep moving forward, even though you feel on the inside like you really don't have it together, that you don't know the way. Keep putting one foot in front of the other or paddling one foot in front of the other, because you are very much supported by the divine at this time. This is all over your readings. That along with the owl, right? When we talk about the power of divine grace is within you, what is grace? Grace is forgiveness, forgiving yourself and others, right? Grace is also, knowing that self-care and self-nurture and being able to, sort of release what wants to be released in order to welcome the new is all a part of the process. But it feels like there's a reluctance to be fully aware of all of your options. And I don't know if it's a reluctance as opposed to you just haven't had the frame of mind or the, what did we say? Presence of mind, to be able to do that. And you're being gently nudged, can we get onto that? Because there are new things that want to come your way, but we got to empty that plate a little bit first. And Spirit is guiding you, throwing signs and synchronicities literally at your feet, instructing you on how to get there. So it's about being present with it. It's about working with your dream time to gain that clarity and really accessing the emotional wealth of information, or the intuitive wells of information that are available to you. Literally a guide map on how to work through from point A to point B. Okay, it's just about allowing yourself to see it and be aware of it. And I'm also hearing the word patience is involved with this as well, but it's an active patience, right? Grace, as well as, representing forgiveness, it's also, embodying a state of grace is a state of surrender and willingness to accept that everything is going to work out exactly as it's meant to, and that you don't need to hold on to any sort of expectation or, rigid, thoughts around how things, are meant to go or need to go or in what time, right? What's more important? You reaching a certain, feeling around feeling happy and fully embodied in your life and really like in a place where you can really just enjoy and sit into things and like you're doing exactly what you're meant to be doing, exactly where you're meant to be doing it? Or is it more important that things go a certain way and happen in a certain time? That's the question. and it's really up to you. But White Swan and Owl working with you for the second half of this month is highly auspicious. So with that being said, Gemini, I'm wishing you a happy and most blessed second half of the month. And thank you so much for being here. Please, please, please holler at me in the comments because I really love to read them. I hope that this helped and resonated. Also, please like, share, and subscribe. If you could go ahead and hit that like button, I would so appreciate that. And with that being said, again, just thank you, each and every one of you watching this. I appreciate you. I feel you. I see you. I thank you. And most of all, and as always, dear Geminis, thank you for being you. And be well. Until next time.